What's that?
Well, it was kind of a mixture between Psycho and our protagonist's attempt at the dolphin.
It was more like...
It's been a bit odd for us watching the second episode of Killing Eve.
Why?
Because in between watching the first one and the second one, we went to our daughters very excitedly because, as you know, if you follow this channel, we all watch a lot of stuff together.
And Maddie loves kind of Grizzly.
Oh my God, you've got to watch this series. It's absolutely brilliant. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, they watched the first episode, came down and went, it's a bit boring, really.
Yeah, I think Maddie wasn't a big fan, but I think Kiki secretly was. Because Kiki then asked me, is it all available on iPlayer?
So maybe she's watching it.
And I think Kiki's actually watched more than us with Nanny Di.
Yeah.
And you could argue maybe Kiki shouldn't be watching it. Maybe it's inappropriate for Kiki, you know, eyeballs being gouged out and all that kind of stuff.
But you know what we've decided? It's like Maddie said to me the other day when something I said that I didn't want her to watch. She said, yeah, but Mum, I'll just watch it on my phone with my friends.
Yeah.
So if we think we have any parental controls left on what kids watch, think again.
It's like she was asking me something the other day and she said, should it be... She said, I have a problem with making anything, you know, not allowed. I said, well, the problem with making anything not allowed, boxing, that's right, we were talking about boxing. I said, is it goes underground. It happens. So you either drive your kids' activity underground or you sit with them and you watch horror films and psychologically inappropriate content. That's what we do.
And you discuss it with them.
We discuss it with them. And
I'm sure a lot of you disagree.
Anyway, I thought this episode started with a wonderful scene which I had to stop everyone in the room from looking on their phones because everyone was on their phones when this started, and we rewound it to the beginning.
And why was I on the phone? I was doing an Insta story saying that we were watching it and we were going to be reviewing it.
But anyway, so it's a good job we did rewind it.
The horrors of a social media family.
There was a brilliant shot in a car or on a bus or something, and you could just see it through the office window up behind her. A man hit the window with blood on his hands.
This, of course, is a spoiler review.
Yeah. But, and
I was fascinated by the girl on the bus who watched it, and they caught sight of each other, didn't they?
Yeah.
And they had a moment. She was just on the bus, and she saw it. She saw all the blood smeared, and then she saw a psychopathic killer walking towards him. And then she just called her mum and said, and you thought she was calling the police, but she called her mum and said, "Oh, can you get such and such in the supermarket?"
Oh, isn't that funny? I didn't notice that bit.
Oh, I was fascinated by that bit because now I'm.
I was on my phone.
I was going to ask you why you thought that was, and did she in any way know the killer? But I think I do know what it is.
Go.
I think it was the writer showing us that just psychopaths are just everywhere.
Well, interesting you should say that, because one of the interesting little beats that's happening for me, and I'll go into why I think this is the case later, is that I think Sandra Oh, there is psychopathy in the behaviour of the cops. There is a psychopathy at work within Sandra Oh too.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, these cops and these people, they put together these dossiers, they look at I've often thought they look at images of such brutality and such horror and such sort of bodily carnage that they become desensitized. And so, you know, why would you be drawn to that kind of work? Anyway, I'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, you're right. I do think what's clever about this one, for me as a filmmaker, I love the way in which action is visually introduced to us as the viewer, and I thought that was one of the most innovative ways of showing a fight. I mean, you know, traditionally I would probably approach that directorially. I was thinking, God, what kind of a brain would think to approach that from a bus looking up? And you see it like that. You would traditionally approach it from within the office house, you know, within the office, probably a lift opening, her coming out. You'd be suggestive with the shots and you'd be inferring stuff if you were a clever director. But that level of inference and disconnectivity I thought was really clever. I thought it was very, very clever. But this was it was in Bulgaria, wasn't it? And the guy who she's shooting, who's cowering underneath the table, says,
it's the first time we've seen somebody beg for their life.
Yeah, and you feel for him.
So, you know, as the viewer, we're taken to the next level of her evil and her.
Yeah, because he says, "Why are you doing this?" And what did she say?
Somebody told me to.
She said, "I have absolutely no idea."
Oh yeah, that was right. I have no idea.
I have absolutely no idea.
And then she just went.
But if you think about most of our jobs, if I think some of my
Come
earlier
on, you can't
jobs...
draw any parallel
No,
here
you
to any other
can,
job
you can.
do
She
them.
is a hired assassin, and something else I quite like about her character is this is her day-to-day 9-to-5 job. Her 9-to-5 job is going out and bumping people off. She doesn't want to. She doesn't want to know why. She doesn't want to get the details.
She comes home. She has a gin and tonic. Doesn't
Perhaps
she?
the reason she doesn't want to get the details is precisely. Yeah. Perhaps the reason she doesn't want to get it sounds like you. But perhaps the reason she doesn't want to get the details of who she's killing and why she's killing them is because it just makes it that much easier to do.
No, that I would strongly disagree with. We have been shown time and time again she has no feelings whatsoever for any of them.
Anyway, all right.
That is not why.
I know. I'm not letting my coffee go dry. Look.
So we loved the way that she just flopped down on the chair after us, but actually our daughter Maddie said she overdoes not caring.
Yeah, she did. She said, I said to Maddie, isn't she great? Because she sits in the chair, doesn't she? She just sort of sits there like you do in the office after you've kind of sent a load of emails. And
do you know why I think Maddie might not connect with her?
She's a psychopath.
No, I think because being 15, she doesn't really understand that anyone could have that level of evil and cold-bloodedness. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
So she's thinking, oh, she's overacting, that she doesn't care.
Yeah.
No, there are people that brutal and evil and awful.
That's true. Right, this can I just say, this series has made me very fond of our Fiona Shaw. I really like her. There's something about her manner that makes me, a bit like Gina McKee has impressed you in The Bodyguard.
Because I never liked Gina McKee.
I've never really liked Fiona Shaw. I like her in this. Anyway, there's a moment where they're walking into their lovely little office, which I know the road that's on. That's my little gateway back across the river in London. And because Sandra Oh's now been sort of brought into this informal, I love this informal at the top of a house kind of investigation that's going on, sort of officially, unofficially, or unofficially, officially. But there's a moment where Fiona Shaw says, yes, I've seen a rat down there drinking a can of Coke. It used both hands. I just thought, I love that kind of line.
Yeah, that's a great
Fiona
line.
Shaw delivered it brilliantly.
Oh, yeah, she's very deadpan.
So deadpan.
Very, very low. What
I want to
do you call
meet that rat.
It's a very subtle performance.
Oh, it's so subtle, but it's just very unique. It's in the writing. Who would add that line? Like that first shot, she's a genius. She's a genius. I mean, there's no two ways about it. She might be a bit odd in the interview. Yes.
Oh, she's a genius.
She's a genius.
That's for sure.
Genius. Okay.
Carry on.
So, and I love that. This is an official tap on the shoulder. So anyway, then we go back to Paris, where our assassin and her mentor's got a little bit concerned about her.
Because basically he comes in and he says, we think we need to get you assessed again. Because she was only supposed to kill one person, but she killed 4.
That's right.
She's in the hospital.
That's right.
So so they set up this test with the psychologist.
This is hysterical. Just the very idea that there is a psychopath. There's a therapist for psychopaths.
Sociopaths.
Whatever she is, the fact that there's someone he can call up and he will do an official test on her.
So the sociopath mentor decides the sociopath has gone a bit far because she killed 3 extra.
Yes.
And then this psychiatrist, which obviously just a box ticker, isn't he? Because he asked 3 questions, each of which her answers became more chilling, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, he basically asked if she had any anxieties, and she said no. And then he started showing her really grisly images of men and pets that have been hung. And he asks her, "What did you see?"
And she looks like she's going to cry, doesn't she? And then she just bursts out laughing.
She says, "Good legs."
Yeah.
She saw the beautiful legs of that. That was good. That was good.
She said about the dog.
I think I've gone out with a woman a bit like her.
Married one.
Not quite that. No. But I do remember thinking, God, you're not seeing any of the humanity here. And then basically, based on very little. And clearly, all of her answers suggest she's a complete nut job, completely unhinged.
Worse than even we thought.
Worse than you could possibly comprehend. He turns to them and goes, she's fine.
She's fine.
She's fine. Which I thought was very good.
Sorry about
very
that.
Good. That was a really loud noise in your throat. I've written the notes, dreams about Anna, it's my mother. I don't know what the hell that means. I think got a feeling it might be
Leave
to
in
do...
the comments below.
Yeah, I think it's got something to do with what the images made her think of. Anyway, so she hugs her mentor. You were interested in what's happening between her and her mentor, aren't you, in this episode?
Yeah, because they have this dance around them where they're kind of almost flirtatious.
Oh, they hold a knife at each other's neck, don't they?
Yeah, who's going to talk? They're flirtatious. He can also be incredibly avuncular. And then he can be almost... Or you get flashes of him being more evil than her, and then minute strands of maybe fear of her, don't you? Yeah. There's a respect of their... Well, they're just 2 like-minded people. Yeah. They're 2 like-minded people, aren't they? Yeah. Their differences are the same.
Yes.
And so I'm fascinated by that because I think we're going to see more and more of that, and he's a really solid, good actor.
He's a really strong character. Anyway, sorry, go on.
But in this episode... our psychopath, our sociopath,
learns how to laugh like a dolphin.
Has a little dalliance.
She falls for Sebastian.
The sweetest, most beautiful young man that is so kind and so protective. And in the writing in this, it almost goes a bit caricatured, but not in a bad way, where everything is heightened, where we are taken into this false sense of security that maybe this boy has touched her so much.
Maybe there's humanity.
There's a humanity in her, apart from in the sex scene when she's
she looks
going at him like a nutter, and then you suddenly see a dead coldness, and that was a window into what's happened to her that's made her what she is. I believe she was horrendously sexually abused.
You always think that. What if she's made the choice?
Mark my words, no. Because when she's on him and she's having sex, and he's like, oh, did you? And she goes, yes, and then she goes to this place of absolute death behind her eyes, and you see a child that shut down their feelings. I'm telling you now. I
don't know. I sort of feel as a series, it's operating at a level where it's not going to give it that sort
Maybe
of
it won't give it to it, but it's given me that. That's what I take. Rather like when you go and see a painting, and you take what you take.
Okay.
That was my understanding. Because we're fascinated, aren't we, in the workings of the mind.
I thought she just simply got carried away with how much fun she was having, and she doesn't understand where the boundary between fun and killing someone ends.
You keep giving her a conscience. She hasn't got one.
No, there's no conscience there. She was just having her own fun. I mean, it was a very functional, you know what.
But anyway, let's not go into
No. Anyway, but she flirts with killing him. She puts her hands on his neck. He's unaware, and he opens his eyes, and then she doesn't, and they wake up. He's very sweet. He gives her arnica, doesn't he, for something? He gives her arnica.
Straight
I thought you'd
after
like
she's had her orgasm, straight after he's had his orgasm, she puts her hands around his neck. But anyway, he is like something out. What's that lovely French film about the chocolate and that lovely music? Dun, dun, dun. What's the
about
music
the
you used
chocolate?
to? Is it music? You used to use the music in that show we did, Taste of My Life.
Don't know.
Amélie.
Oh, Amélie.
It's almost like an Amélie. It's almost like a scene from.
He's straight
Amélie.
out of a classic French film.
Just beautiful. And
and
looks after her and just doesn't...
Offers her arnica. I mean, what kind of a man offers arnica for her bruises?
Oh my goodness, he's touched her. We're
in all the wrong places.
They're going to have an affair through this, and we're going to see another soft side. But our writer, what's her name?
Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Doesn't write that kind of
female
character. She doesn't
do
that.
She don't do sensitivity.
No, she does.
No, she didn't even in Fleabag. It's hardcore shit, this.
Well, anyway.
Yeah.
So a bit later on, we see what happens. Carry
on. So doing her hair, she remembers. What does she remember? Oh no, Sandra Oh doing her hair in the loo at the top of this attic-like place where she's trying to hunt down for the various nurses who were in the hospital on the day that the death happened.
None of them have come up
on the screen, and then she's doing her hair, she brings her hair down, and she goes to put her hair up, and of course the penny drops.
She remembers the moment that she bumped into our psychopath in the toilet, and the psychopath told her to keep her head down.
Yeah. Someone calls someone a monkey dick, and I wrote the line down because I liked it. Because I think it's is it Peter Haig or Matthew Haig, the actor? I love him. Can I just say, can you just carry the fort whilst I find out his name?
We loved him in this, and we loved his struggle that the hierarchy has now shifted.
David Haig.
I thought I was filling in.
Yeah, no.
Sandra Oh and him, hasn't he? He
lovely.
struggles with the hierarchy.
He really does, yeah.
The power difference.
But what I like about his character is you would see him in most sort of procedural kind of crime things, and he would have just been the sort of argy-bargy bloke. But he acquiesces, doesn't he? And he sort of hands over to, oh, all right, you're right. But anyway, yeah, someone calls him a monkey dick, or someone calls someone a monkey dick, and he doesn't know what it is.
Doesn't matter because we don't know what it is.
Yeah, but I like it.
But what I really liked was the murder of the woman with the perfume. So our psychopath goes into a big restaurant in Paris, and it's just that wonderful confidence that a psychopath has. They just do whatever they want. I thought, I really want to be a psychopath. Well, I had a few moments where I thought, I don't want to murder anyone, but I'd like to just not care what anyone thinks.
It's
and
funny
just
you
be
should say
bravery.
That. When she entered that social event, I sometimes thought, God, does it mean that I have to be a psychopathic assassin in order to walk through a set of doors without being painfully self-conscious?
Like, I've got a friend she's got two sons. One is psychopathic, and one is a very sensitive, lovely child. She kept worrying about the psychopath. And it wasn't until I said to her one day, do you know what? Because over the years we've talked a lot about these differences in these two boys. I said, never worry about the psychopath again. He's actually all right.
He's very happy.
They have the best time ever.
I know who you mean.
They are fearless. They do whatever they want. They trample all over. They have multiple affairs. They're never hurt. They hurt others. It's the sensitive one you've got to worry about more, because they're the one that might bump into a psychopath.
But the only detail is whenever the psychopathic one does come over, we always hide all the cutlery. and the rat poison. But yeah, no. But just prior to this scene, so we know a death's coming. We know a killing's going to happen. She says this wonderful line, "I'm an asthma sufferer," and she says, "I love the asthmatics."
She didn't say this. I love the gaspers.
I love the gaspers, the ones who can't breathe, the ones she likes to kill people with. Anyway, so this scene happens where she goes down, and this person that she kills is obviously a perfumery designer, or has supported someone in the world of perfumery. What is perfumery industry? What do you call it? Parfumerie. Why don't you help me out? You're a woman.
I was thinking the perfumerie.
Scentery. Scent. Anyway, so she goes down. She manages to use the cover of taking a tampon down. I love that. She's like, because a man was not going to cross that boundary.
If the manager says, "Why are you going there?" She goes, "I have to give lady did it."
But if a woman says that to any man, you're going to clear out. You go.
And a great observation showing. I mean, again, the writer, she's so damn clever.
So she goes down and she's created her own perfume, and it's a very vicious perfume. Yeah. She suggests to her, "Please smell it. Please try it," and she sprays it on her hands, does she, and then sniffs it, and we see a scene then that I'm amazed you could watch.
She's such a good actress, that girl, isn't
she? How did you deal with that?
Because the way that she reaches out to her and says, "You know, I followed you and I did it."
Yeah.
Oh my God. Anyway.
No, she watches. Come on, you can't throw that scene under the bridge.
I'm not going to. I'm going to say,
she watches.
To see another level of her.
She just stands and watches.
Her
psychopathy.
Cold-bloodedness, her psychopathy. The sheer pleasure that she gets out of watching her die, and the woman is just reaching, and she's just... And you get that cold shiver, you think, oh my God, imagine that woman knew there was no help coming.
Oh, it's hideous. It's brilliant. It was brilliant. And I'm amazed that our daughters didn't want to enjoy that scene, because they're drawn to psychopaths.
So then the next scene, we're back at the flat in Paris, and her mentor arrives and is furious with her and grabs her by the throat and smashes against the wall.
As you do.
And then beautiful, lovely, sweet boyfriend arrives, all excited because she's told him she's going to go and try and sell her perfume somewhere, and just catches the edge of this fracas going on and looks very concerned about her.
Yeah.
The mentor has been saying to her, "You need to deal with the boyfriend. You need to deal." She says, "I will deal with him, blah, blah, blah." Anyway, so the boyfriend says, "Do you need me to stay?" And he's got to take her in. And she says, No, I'll come over to your flat. You go and we'll watch a movie. Anyway, the mentor and her go into the sitting room. Meanwhile, the boyfriend sees the perfume and takes it. We're left with that image, aren't we?
Should we just leave it at that for them so that we don't spoil everything? Watch the end of the episode to see how poor old Sebastian sort of moves into the next chapter of his relationship with her. But can I just say, because we've jumped over one vital detail, there's a scene in the... Sorry.
No, I was just trying to think what I...
There's one scene in the pub where the police team, so David Haig and Sandra Oh, meet up with their superior officer, and they're trying to sort of solve the case, and there's an issue about CCTV, and this is the boss who's fired them. And he's very drunk, brilliantly played by the actor who's in Fortitude. Brilliant.
Did you see Fortitude? He was the one
great.
that was
the feeder.
Helped the fat girl die.
But there was a moment where he was drunk because his wife had died, and they turned to each other, Sandra Oh and David Haig, and they say, "Did you know his..." And they'd been really manipulative with him, and they both went, "Yeah, we did know." So the psychopathy, that's where I'm interested. That I think they're going to start to increase the levels of...
I think she's showing us that it's, as we know, it's a very broad spectrum. We'll all know somebody that has psychopathic tendencies, and it's just they're all around us. That's why the girl in the bus just picked up the phone and spoke to my mum.
I have to say there have been many arguments between me and Nadia where we've been, in the heat of a row, and I've thought she's a psychopath. I mean, I
have psychopathic moments.
You do. No, you do. You start to talk
I just cut off
in
the
tongues,
feelings.
and you start to say stuff. Drawers come open, knives are grabbed out. It's quite frightening. I mean, yeah. So I would say you're a bit of a psychopath.
Thank you, darling. I love you too.
Yeah.
Check out this series. We love it. Please subscribe to the channel.
Looking forward to episode 3.
Hit the notification.
Can we also just say...
You never let me...
Sorry.
You never...
I'm just excited.
Ever let me just say those lines. Go on.
No, you say them.
You always interrupt me in the middle.
Oh, I'm sorry.
If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, because if you don't, you'll never be notified about new films that go up. And we do surprise lives. We've got lots of different stuff on the channel. We do our How to Stay Married So Far, we do gardening films, we do family vlogging, and we do movie trailers, and we do the big movies. We do all sorts, and we even sometimes do showbiz.
We do. We like the showbiz.
And we do mental health. We do a lot of mental health
lots of
discussions. So please do support us by subscribing us, because every single subscriber we get, we love it.
We love it. And if you don't subscribe, she'll come round and kill you.
Thanks.